Okay, in the last video I showed you how to find an appropriate image for laser engraving. Now we're going to go ahead and edit that image. Once again, just to retrace our steps, we were in the Project Design Briefs tab, LED Light Stand project, and once again there's that link to the series of videos on how to do this along with a few other things. And if you look at my step-by-step instructions, we're pretty much working our way down to about this step right here. So basically we looked for at least 3 images, we saved them to our H drive, and now we're ready to start doing some editing. You're going to be right-clicking on these images and using the Open With option, and I would suggest using either Snagit Editor or Paint 3D. And to keep it simple, we're just focusing on things like cropping and erasing parts of the image that we may or may not want. Once again, as always, when you even do any editing, you always have to save what you've changed so that you can then see that when we take it to the next step, which is Microsoft Word. So I'm actually going to go ahead and minimize my browser. My H drive is here, or my home folder. I'm going to double click. I'm going to go to my class folder, and here I have my LED light stand. And since I've done this with a few other classes already, you can see I have multiple images here. Something I like to do is go up to View and select large icons. It's just an easy way to see what each one of these files is looking like. Let's go back to what I did use in the last video. I'm actually going to use just one of these just to keep it simple. I'm going to start with this one here called fish.png. And once again, the format here, PNG, JPEG, this is all going to work fine. Bitmaps, TIFF files, you name it, should work fine for laser engraving. So here's what I'm going to ask you to do. I'm going to ask you to right click on a file you want to edit. You're going to select the Open With. So if you work your way down, you're going to see right here, Open With. I've been using Snagit for quite some time, and I just recently started using Paint 3D. And I actually find has less, but is very powerful for what we're doing. It's enough, but Snagit definitely has more features. So let me go ahead and show you a very easy way to crop and erase parts of your picture. Let's go to Paint 3D. Once again, I right-clicked on my image in order to do this. So here we have an image. There's a few things that we can do here. We can definitely, zoom in and zoom out. Don't get so caught up when you zoom in really close that things start to look pixelated. Okay, that's 961%. Typically, we're working at about 100% whenever we're looking at these images, and kind of what you see at 100% is more likely what you're going to see laser engraved. But I'm going to zoom in just a little bit just to make it a little bit easier. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start cropping. So if you look over here on the left, there's my crop function. I'm going to click on crop. Easiest way to crop is just to drag a corner, any corner. And I can do this really with just 2 corners. I'm going to click and drag. And what I'm trying to reduce here is the amount of white space around the image. Now I don't want to crop the image off, meaning I don't want to do this. I just want to stay close enough to not affect the image. So I'm going to stop right about there. Jump down to the bottom left-hand corner. I'm going to come up just a little bit. Once again, I don't want to cut anything off. I'm going to stop right there. Now in Paint 3D, you then have to select an option in order to say, okay, I'm done. So I'm going to go down here and select this Done option right here. Okay, great. Now last thing I'm going to get rid of is this big C. So if you look over here, you have these different tools. Obviously, you can add things, but we're going to save that for Microsoft Word. For now, let's just worry about cropping and possibly erasing. So I'm going to click on my eraser tool. Here I can change the size of the actual tool, so I can make it much larger or much smaller. I'm going to go ahead and you can see here, that's a fairly large eraser. I got to be very careful. I might come down just a little bit there. That's a little bit smaller, a little bit easier to control. So I'm just going to click and drag, holding down my left mouse button. I'm going to get rid of that. Obviously, I would not want that to appear on my laser engraved image. Now, if you do find any other pixels, random gray, black, grayscale, little dots here and there, I would definitely go through and just kind of clean the image up as best you can. If for some reason you click and you do this by mistake, we know that Control Z will bring it back. Okay, so do try to catch that if it does happen, and make sure you hit a quick Control Z. Okay, everything looks great here. I'm done. What I am going to do though is I need to save my work. I think we all know the shortcut key is Control on your keyboard, bottom left hand corner, Control S. that's going to do a quick save. So I'm actually done with this image. Now this was Paint 3D. So let me go ahead and just close this. And let me bring up another image here. This was obviously a good image. The soccer ball seems like it's just about complete in terms of cropping. This one as well, but let's bring up the soccer ball this time. So once again, don't double click, right click, open with, and in this case, I'm going to try Snagit Editor, another one I'm very familiar with. Now Snagit has definitely a bit more functionality, and some of you may have used it before, but once again, we're just either cropping or we're erasing. Okay, so as I look at this image, definitely needs cropping. I don't see any erasing that needs to be done, but I'll kind of show you where that tool is. Now, you're not going to necessarily see crop here, but if you go to where it says more, and you work your way down, there it is, there's the crop tool. Go ahead and click on that. Here we're going to drag, once again, same idea, just drag a corner, don't get too tight, just enough to let it breathe a little bit. Same down here, click and drag. Just enough to get rid of any dead space. Remember, we're doing this before we bring this into Microsoft Word. We're getting all of our image prepared. Keep in mind, we may only end up using one, but some students are incorporating more than one image into the next step, which is Microsoft Word. So I'm going to go ahead and hit crop. Okay, that looks good. If I want to get rid of anything, obviously I can go back to more. If you work your way down, there's an eraser. Okay, this works almost the same, but a few more functions. Different shapes of erasers. You can obviously select the size of the eraser by changing the width. I don't have anything to erase, but just to demonstrate the eraser tool, I'm going to actually make it fairly large just for demonstration purposes. And I can obviously click, and you can see here I can erase pieces and parts of an image if need be. Obviously, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to hit Control Z. Just keep the image as it is. Once again, I am done here. Now here I can, as in any program, I can go to File, Save, or as you can always see, Control S is your shortcut. So I'm going to hit Control S on my keyboard, or once again, File, Save. Okay, pretty simple video here, but once again, get all of your images edited. If you're planning to add any text, don't do that yet. That will be done in Microsoft Word. And once again, remember, you can bring in more than one image if you would like to, but just once again, keep in mind that is in the next video with Microsoft Word.